A diphthong, also known as a gliding vowel, refers to two adjacent vowel sounds occurring within the same syllable. Technically, a diphthong is a vowel with two different targets, that is, the tongue moves during the pronunciation of the vowel. For most dialects of English, the phrase "no highway cowboys" contains 5 distinct diphthongs. Diphthongs contrast with monophthongs, where the tongue or other speech organs do not move significantly and the syllable contains only a single vowel sound. For instance, in English, the word "are" is spoken as a monophthong, while the word "ow" is spoken as a diphthong. Where two adjacent vowel sounds occur in different syllables, for example, in the English word re-elect the result is described as hiatus, not as a diphthong. Diphthongs often form when separate vowels are run together in rapid speech during a conversation. However, there are also unitary diphthongs, as in the English examples above, which are heard by listeners as single vowel sounds. International Phonetic Alphabet. In the International Phonetic Alphabet, monophthongs are transcribed with one symbol, as in English sun, son. Diphthongs are transcribed with 2 letters, as in English sign, cn, or sane, cn. The 2 vowel symbols are chosen to represent the beginning and ending positions of the tongue, though this can be only approximate. The non-syllabic diacritic can be placed under the less prominent component to show that it is part of a diphthong rather than a separate vowel. It is, however, usually omitted in languages such as English, where there is not likely to be any confusion. Without the diacritic, the sequence, I can represent either a diphthong or 2 vowels in hiatus. Types: falling and rising. Falling diphthongs start with a vowel quality of higher prominence and end in a semivowel with less prominence, like "e" and "I", while rising diphthongs begin with a less prominent semivowel and end with a more prominent full vowel, similar to the "jar" in yard. The less prominent component in the diphthong may also be transcribed as an approximant, thus, "arsh" in "I" and "jar" in yard. However, when the diphthong is analyzed as a single phoneme, both elements are often transcribed with vowel letters. Note also that semivowels and approximants are not equivalent in all treatments, and in the English and Italian languages, among others, many phoneticians do not consider rising combinations to be diphthongs, but rather sequences of approximant and vowel. There are many languages that contrast one or more rising diphthongs with similar sequences of a glide and a vowel in their phonetic inventory. Closing, opening, and centering. In closing diphthongs, the second element is more close than the first. In opening diphthongs, the second element is more open. Closing diphthongs tend to be falling, and opening diphthongs are generally rising, as open vowels are more sonorous and therefore tend to be more prominent. However, exceptions to this rule are not rare in the world's languages. In Finnish, for instance, the opening diphthongs are true falling diphthongs, since they begin louder and with higher pitch and fall in prominence during the diphthong. A third, rare type of diphthong that is neither opening nor closing is height harmonic diphthongs, with both elements at the same vowel height. These were particularly characteristic of Old English, which had diphthongs such as. A centering diphthong is one that begins with a more peripheral vowel and ends with a more central one, such as, E unregistered trademark I, A unregistered trademark I, and Esh unregistered trademark I, in received pronunciation, or E unregistered trademark I, and A unregistered trademark I, in Irish. Many centering diphthongs are also opening diphthongs. Diphthongs may contrast in how far they open or close. For example, Samoan contrasts low to mid with low to high diphthongs, a unregistered trademark I, EII probably, a unregistered trademark EI but, a unregistered trademark oro, EOIE 3/4 O, gold, O, OI cloud, length. Languages differ in the length of diphthongs, measured in terms of morae. In languages with phonemically short and long vowels, diphthongs typically behave like long vowels, and are pronounced with a similar length. In languages with only one phonemic length for pure vowels, however, diphthongs may behave like pure vowels. For example, in Icelandic, both monophthongs and diphthongs are pronounced long before single consonants and short before most consonant clusters. Some languages contrast short and long diphthongs. In some languages, such as Old English, these behave like short and long vowels, occupying 1 and 2 morae, respectively. In other languages, however, such as Ancient Greek, they occupy 2 and 3 morae, respectively, with the first element rather than the diphthong as a whole behaving as a short or long vowel. Languages that contrast 3 quantities in diphthongs are extremely rare, but not unheard of. Northern Sami is known to contrast long, short and finally stressed diphthongs, the last of which are distinguished by a long second element. Difference from a vowel and semi-vowel. While there are a number of similarities, diphthongs are not the same as a combination of a vowel and an approximant or glide. Most importantly, diphthongs are fully contained in the syllable nucleus while a semi-vowel or glide is restricted to the syllable boundaries. This often manifests itself phonetically by a greater degree of constriction, though this phonetic distinction is not always clear. The English word yes, for example, consists of a palatal glide followed by a monophthong rather than a rising diphthong. In addition, the segmental elements must be different in diphthongs so that I, when it occurs in a language, does not contrast with ia, though it is possible for languages to contrast ish and ie. Examples: Germanic languages, English. All English diphthongs are falling, apart from, which can be analyzed as ea. In words coming from Middle English, most cases of the modern English diphthongs, e, oeshi, ie, ashi originate from the Middle English long monophthongs, ie, a through the great vowel shift, although some cases of oeshi, ie originate from the Middle English diphthongs, e. Dutch. The dialect of Helmond has 5 centering diphthongs and contrasts long and short forms of a, angstrom ei, eshi, and eshi. German. Standard German, phonemic diphthongs in German, as in earlier Euro unregistered trademark, as in Mossa Musia unregistered trademark, as in newer Euro unregistered trademark, in the varieties of German that vocalize the in the syllable coda, other diphthongal combinations may occur. These are only phonetic diphthongs, not phonemic diphthongs, since the vocalic pronunciation, ei, alternates with consonantal pronunciations of if a vowel follows, cf. Duha paragraph rst, du eist a you hear a unregistered trademark a ikar paragraph section e unregistered trademark a I hear a unregistered trademark. These phonetic diphthongs may be as follows: I, as in hey unregistered trademark, I, as in yawa unregistered trademark, aei, as in era unregistered trademark, aeei, as in hr unregistered trademark, aei, as in clock unregistered trademark, yei, as in tar 1/4 dura unregistered trademark, ei, as in war true unregistered trademark. Beninese German, the diphthongs of some German dialects differ a lot from standard German diphthongs. The Beninese German diphthongs, for instance, correspond rather to the Middle High German diphthongs than to standard German diphthongs, as in Liebe dira unregistered trademark, as in Guata Guda unregistered trademark, as in Ma 1/4 Edda tirade unregistered trademark, as in Belia lega unregistered trademark, as in Boomer tray unregistered trademark, as in bar paragraph ima trace unregistered trademark. Apart from these phonemic diphthongs, Beninese German has numerous phonetic diphthongs due to L-vocalization in the syllable coda, for instance the following ones: oi as in style stabilia unregistered trademark, e as in psi stila unregistered trademark, ali as in whack currency ata world unregistered trademark, ali as in whack currency ata electsa unregistered trademark, eshui as in chaada galita or unregistered trademark. Yiddish. Yiddish has 3 diphthongs: a as in clear te unregistered trademark 1/4 a unregistered trademark, aoi, as in now en squared oy, unregistered trademark I, as in unregistered trademark ifni copyright y. Diphthongs may reach a higher target position in situations of co-articulatory phenomena or when words with such vowels are being emphasized. Norwegian, there are 5 diphthongs in Norwegian, as in nei, no, aei, as in ay, island, a permil I, as in sow, sheep, a as in high, shark, eei, as in joic, Sami song. An additional diphthong, e permil I, occurs only in the word hui and the expression I huiog hast in great haste. The number and form of diphthongs vary between dialects. Faroese, diphthongs in Faroese are, as in bane, as in havn, as in ha, mana, as in hey, as in nevnd, as in navn, as in has, as in maen, bar 1/2, a degree, as in ra equal or more than degree, as in hura, as in za cubed l, ovn, Icelandic. Diphthongs in Icelandic are the following, as in tta, 8, as in na cubed g, enough, as in auger, I, as in kawa, dear, as in a 3/4 air, they. Combinations of semivowel and a vowel are the following, as in a copywriter, eat, as in jata, manger, as in January, yes, as in Joe degree, iodine, j, yod, as in January cubed l, Christmas, as in January paragraph ton, giant, as in January jar, oh well, Romance languages, French, in French, and may be considered true diphthongs. Other sequences are considered part of the glide formation process that turns a high vowel into a semivowel when followed by another vowel. Diphthongs, ea, as in Roe king, ea florin as in groin muzzle, yei, as in hute 8, yea florin as in Jew and June, semivowels, as in ui yes, as in Leon bond, as in aria ge, as in travail work, as in Marseille, as in Bill ball, as in fail leaf, as in Grenowie frog, as in viold, Quebec French. In Quebec French, long vowels are normally diphthongized in informal speech when stressed. Ai, as in tard late, aoi, as in pari father, or I, as in fleur flower, ui as in autre other, ayi as in neutre neutral. Catalan possesses a number of phonetic diphthongs, all of which begin or end in j, or w. In Standard Eastern Catalan, rising diphthongs are only possible in the following contexts, j, in word initial position, for example igot. Both occur between vowels as inferior and vm. In the sequences, ew, or, kw and vowel, for example guant, quota, qa 1/4 estia cubed, pinga 1/4 a. There are also certain instances of compensatory diphthongization in the Majorcan dialect so that develops a compensating palatal glide and surfaces as trogs. Diphthongization compensates for the loss of the palatal stop. There are other cases where diphthongization compensates for the loss of point of articulation features as in squared versus args. The dialectal distribution of this compensatory diphthongization is almost entirely dependent on the dorsal plosive and the extent of consonant assimilation. Portuguese. The Portuguese diphthongs are formed by the labio-velar approximant, w, and palatal approximant, j, with a vowel. European Portuguese has 14 phonemic diphthongs, all of which are falling diphthongs formed by a vowel and a non-syllabic high vowel. Brazilian Portuguese has roughly the same amount, although the European and non-European dialects have slightly different pronunciations. A, w, on blood after or and before all vowels as in quando, equi florin do or garda, way 3/4 a degree wada may also form rising diphthongs and triphthongs. Additionally, in casual speech, adjacent heterosyllabic vowels may combine into diphthongs and triphthongs or even sequences of them. In addition, phonetic diphthongs are formed in most Brazilian Portuguese dialects by the vocalization of in the syllable coda with words like sol, cw, and su, as well as by yodization of vowels preceding or its allophone its syllable coda, florin e, in terms like aras, eojs j, and in terms such as pasmundial, pajz mar copyright de or par, j. mar copyright de or and designos, eoadazar euro florin new, j, eoadazar euro florin new. Spanish, phonemically, Spanish has 7 falling diphthongs and 8 rising diphthongs. In addition, during fast speech, sequences of vowels in hiatus become diphthongs wherein one becomes non-syllabic as in Peter, poeta and maestro, maeste 3/4 o. The Spanish diphthongs are, Italian. The diphthongs of Italian are, in general, unstressed /eou/ in hiatus can turn into glides in more rapid speech with the process occurring more readily in syllables further from stress. Romanian. Romanian has two diphthongs, and as a result of their origin, they appear only in stressed syllables and make morphological alternations with the mid-vowels and. To native speakers, they sound very similar to and respectively. There are no perfect minimal pairs to contrast and because doesn't appear in the final syllable of a prosodic word, there are no monosyllabic words with. Exceptions might include volantrotoa, though Ionikaya Pound-Aran argues that these are best treated as containing glide vowel sequences rather than diphthongs. In addition to these, the semivowels and can be combined with most vowels, while this arguably forms additional diphthongs and triphthongs, only and can follow an obstruent liquid cluster such as in broska-florin and driaga-florin. Implying that and are restricted to the syllable boundary and therefore, strictly speaking, do not form diphthongs. Celtic languages, Irish, all Irish diphthongs are falling. Unregistered trademark spelled aid, ad, ed, or eid, unregistered trademark spelled amh, ab, or eamh, unregistered trademark spelled unregistered trademark spelled way, Scottish Gaelic. There are 9 diphthongs in Scottish Gaelic. Group 1 occur anywhere. Group 2 are reflexes that occur before ll, m, nn, bh, dh, gh and mh. For more detailed explanations of Gaelic diphthongs see Scottish Gaelic orthography. Cornish. The following diphthongs are used in the standard written form of Cornish. Each diphthong is given with its revived Middle Cornish and revived Late Cornish pronunciation. Welsh. Welsh is traditionally divided into northern and southern dialects. In the north, some diphthongs may be short or long according to regular vowel length rules, but in the south they are always short. Southern dialects tend to simplify diphthongs in speech, for example gwaith is reduced to. The plural ending or is reduced to in the north and in the south, for example Kade battles is or. Slavic languages, Serbo-Croatian, I, J, E, as in Mlijeko, is conventionally considered a diphthong. However, it is actually, in hiatus or separated by a semi-vowel, id. Some Serbo-Croatian dialects also have wo, as in kuonj, rod, un, whereas, in Standard Croatian and Serbian, these words are konj, rod, on. Czech. There are 3 diphthongs in Czech, as in auto, as in euro, as in cool. The vowel groups ia, io, and a u in foreign words are not regarded as diphthongs, they are pronounced with between the vowels, ija, ej, ejo, eju. Finno-Ugric languages, Estonian. All 9 vowels can appear as the first component of an Estonian diphthong, but only, e-i-o-u, occur as the second component. There are additional diphthongs less commonly used, such as, u in Europa, ae in Tsar paragraph and ama, and, au, in Na currency Uguma. Finnish. All Finnish diphthongs are falling. Notably, Finnish has true opening diphthongs, which are not very common cross-linguistically compared to centering diphthongs. Vowel combinations across syllables may in practice be pronounced as diphthongs, when an intervening consonant has elided, as in na paragraph n, na n, instead of na an, for the genitive of na currency car paragraph. Closing, ei as in leva, oi as in kinu, oi as in poica, ai as in a currency t, ai as in a paragraph isin, oi as in laua, oi as in luto, ui as in kulu, I as in leal currency, ai as in tar currency isai, ai as in la paragraph itar currency, close, ia as in weirda, I as in liji, iu as in vulu, I as in sistiitnor currency, opening, ia as in kili, ui as in shuo, yi, as in ya paragraph, Northern Sami, the diphthong system in Northern Sami. varies considerably from one dialect to another. The Western Finnmark dialects distinguish four different qualities of opening diphthongs, as in leet to be, as in Gaila language, as in butit to come, as in vijat to swim. In terms of quantity, Northern Sami shows a three-way contrast between long, short and finally stressed diphthongs. The last are distinguished from long and short diphthongs by a markedly long and stressed second component. Diphthong quantity is not indicated in spelling. Semitic languages, Maltese has 7 falling diphthongs, though they may be considered VC sequences phonemically. Aesh section I, Eearjulgar section I, Eesh, Eeshiiwa, Eshiu, Eeshiulgar section U, Eeshiaulgar section U. Sino-Tibetan languages, Mandarin Chinese, rising sequences in Mandarin are usually regarded as a combination of a medial semivowel plus a vowel, while falling sequences are regarded as one diphthong, I, E, as in ai, ae, ye, as in lai, o, eshi, as in dao, u, oeshi, as in da squared u. However, the four rising sequences below can be considered diphthongs, as they are analogous to e, I, u, and y, respectively, and the bare vowel nucleus mostly only occurs along with the corresponding medial. E-I-O, as in ha, ye/ye, ye, as in xia copyright, o/wo, ee, as in wc, u/1/4 e, ye angstrom, as in ua Cantonese. Cantonese has 11 diphthongs. I, ei, as in gai1, r, eu, as in bar 3, I, ei, as in gai 1, or, eu, as in or 1, ae, as in gary 1, u, aau, as in du 6, au, eau, as in ja 3, oi, eei, as in oi 3, u, as in gu 1, ai, as in pui 4, oe, micron y, as in yuri 6, Thai Euro-Kadai languages, Thai, in addition to vowel nuclei following or preceding and, Thai has 3 diphthongs, ei, eei. Ai, Mon Khmer languages, Vietnamese has a fairly large number of diphthongs, iu, eoaea, oeau, oeo, eee degree I, ee degree u, eoie degree a degree, eoi accent y, eoi accent u, e currency aei, cei, ceo, iii, oio, ea, o, ec, uk, eea, way, currency way, eo way cent, urio way, oi ai, eoi, Khmer language similarly has rich vocalics with an extra distinction of long and short register to the vowels and diphthongs. Unregistered trademark I, OE, EOE, unregistered trademark I, unregistered trademark E, unregistered trademark I, OI, unregistered trademark I, UI, unregistered trademark I, unregistered trademark II, unregistered trademark II, unregistered trademark II. Bantu languages, Zulu has only monophthongs. Y and W are semivowels, Jazin, angstrom ijaeaea, Nyakubika, Wazin, angstrom a wanjiwa. See also, hiatus, index of phonetics articles, table of vowels, monophthong, semivowel, triphthong, vowel, vowel breaking, diaresis, references. Bibliography, Berbisa, Planioa. Albano, Eliana C., Brazilian Portuguese, Journal of the International Phonetic Association 34, 227 Euro 232, doi, 10.1017 per second 00251003040017560, Bertonetto, Piermarco. Loporcaro, Michelle, The Sound Pattern of Standard Italian, as compared with the varieties spoken in Florence, Milan and Rome, Journal of the International Phonetic Association 35, 131 Euro 151, doi, 10.1017 per second 002510030500214 Borg, Albert J. Azapadi Alexander, Marie, Maltese, Routledge, ISBN A0-415-02243-6. Carbonell, Joan F. Listery, Joachim, Catalan, Journal of the International Phonetic Association 22, 53 Euro 56, doi, 10.1017 per second 0025100300004618. Chiloran, Iona, The Phonology of Romanian, A Constraint-Based Approach, Berlin and New York, Mouton de Guita, ISBN A3-11-016766-2. Chiloran, Iona, A Perception Production Study of Romanian Diphthongs and Glide Vowel Sequences, Journal of the International Phonetic Association 32, 203 Euro. 222, doi, 10.1017 per second 0025100302001044. Chiloran, Iona, The Phonology and Morphology of Romanian Diphthongization, Probus 14, 205 Euro 246, doi, 10.1515/PRBS. 2002.009. Cruz Ferreira, Madalena, European Portuguese, Journal of the International Phonetic Association 25, 90 Euro 94, doi, 10.1017 per second 0025100300005223. Ferreira, Alo, Applied Phonetics, Portuguese Text-to-Speech, University of California, Berkeley, Cite Xerox, 10.1.134.8785. Gussenhoven, Carlos, Dutch, Journal of the International Phonetic Association 22, 45 Euro 47, doi. 10.1017 per second 00251003000459. Zhang, K., Jonathan. Lauenstam, Jean, De la Syllabicita. Copyright, Indel, Frenner Section Wa. Verfnord, Jean Roger. Hurst, Daniel, La Forme Sonore du Langage, Paris, Hermann, PPA 123 Euro 159. Klein, Ain, Standard Yiddish, Journal of the International Phonetic Association 33, 261 Euro 265, doi, 10.1017 per second 0025100303001385. Martinez Saldrien, Eugenio. Fernandez Planas, Ana Mar. Carrera Sabata. Copyright, Josefina, Castilian Spanish, Journal of the International Phonetic Association 33, 255 Euro 259, doi, 10.1017 per second 00251003001373. Mascara Cubed, Joan, Catalan Phonology and the Phonological Cycle, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, retrieved December 12, 2013. Roach, Peter, British English, Received Pronunciation, Journal of the International Phonetic Association 34, 239 Euro 245, doi, 10.1017. /S0025100304001768. Paget, J., Glides, Vowels, and Features, Lingua 118, 1937 Euro 1955, doi, 10.1016/J Lingua. 2007.10.002. Shane, Sanford, Diphthongization in Particle Phonology, in Goldsmith, John A., The Handbook of Phonological Theory, Blackwell Handbooks in Linguistics, Blackwell, ppA 586 Euro 608. Tingsabod, Emma Kalea. Abramson, Arthur, Thai, Journal of the International Phonetic Association 23, 24 Euro 28, doi, 10.1017 per second 0025100300004746. Verhoeven, Joe, Belgian Standard Dutch, Journal of the International Phonetic Association 35, 243 Euro 247, doi, 10.1017 per second 0025100305002173, retrieved December 12, 2013. Verhoeven, Joe, The Belgian Limburg Dialect of Hemond, Journal of the International Phonetic Association 37, 219 Euro 225, doi, 10.1017 per second 0025100307002940. Verhoeven, Joe. Van Baal, C. Akoestisch Kenmerken van der Nederlands Klinkers in Drivelums Regie Euro Unregistered Trademark S. Tal en Tongval 54, 1 a euro 23 a.